First and foremost, I want to start off by saying happy birthday to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, it's Kareem's birthday? I
Yeah,
did not
man.
know that. Happy birthday.
Yeah, run down some college stuff real quick. 88-2 record, 56 points in his varsity debut. For people that don't know, at one point in college, you just wasn't thrown onto the big boy team of the varsity team. You had to play JV as a freshman. So, 56 in his varsity debut.
Yep.
Career high 61 points, 3 championships in 3 years, and 3 most outstanding players in the NCAA tournament. The NCAA banned the dunk after Kareem's sophomore year. The no dunking rule was also known as the Lou Alcindor rule.
Wow. I knew that, but it's still wow.
It's a great career from a great player. That's just his college career. Like, to go 88-2, of course, we know he had the was it him or Bill Walton that had the longest winning streak? I think it was Bill Walton's team that had it.
No, it's no. That's Jerry West's team. The Lakers. They won 33.
No, it's in college.
Oh, in college.
Yeah,
college. No, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Bill. I'm sure it's Kareem's team.
Well, of course, UConn women have it now. Yeah. Well, mine more, but at once upon a time, it belonged to UCLA men's team. Both of those teams. So, shout out and happy birthday to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who definitely has a GOAT conversation in his NBA career and his college career.
Yeah, 6 championships, NBA all-time leading scorer. He's up there high on the rebounds list. I think Kareem has 4 MVPs, 3 MVPs. He got a couple MVPs. So yeah, he is always the OGs always say Kareem. A lot of OGs say Kareem before Jordan people.
No, definitely. And with that being said, I'm John Davey.
Fresh X.
And this is Hooper's Morning Run. Oh, it's about a quarter left for the NBA. I think most teams are about 20 games left.
Yeah, at least 25 and under.
Yeah. This was actually a good week for basketball. Of course, Paul George had his 4-game stretch where he was averaging like 34, 35 points.
Right.
Steph has been going crazy lately. Him and Clay and Giannis are the only 3 players to score, 40 on 85% shooting.
Right.
Well, now you throw Jaylen Brown in there too. He did that last night.
Yeah, that seems like that's happened every week. The last couple of weeks we had a player that's done that because Jaylen Brown just did it. He said who Steph. Yeah. And before Steph, I think was it. It's my head. Somebody else had just did it before that, but it's been 3 weeks in a row we've had a player do it.
All right, so
Gary Trent.
Gary
17 to 19 from the field.
So, we're in what's becoming to be one of the most efficient areas of basketball. And just to not necessarily get into the efficiency talk, we were having a conversation about Kevin Durant's podcast. Draymond Green was just on there. I'm pretty sure most people have heard it by now. But they were having an interesting conversation basically about the evolution of the three-point shot in today's game. You want to kind of elaborate a little more on that?
Oh, well, then Draymond was just saying because, the NBA a copycat league. So people saw them taking threes and, that they thought that was the main thing they had to do. But they was kind of forgetting the other parts of the game that the Warriors did. But you see it more than ever now. Teams' threes are still up higher than ever. So if somebody gets hot, they can really go off.
No, definitely. And, of course, because like you say, we see in the Rockets teams where they was basically threes or layups and free throws where they was basically, I think, every year breaking the 3-point attempt record. James Harden I think he has the 2 highest 3-point attempt seasons. But you never saw him shoot. I guess you could say they shot by league average 33, 35%. But you never really saw James Harden have a 40% 3-point shooting, percentage from the 3-point line. Whereas you would see Steph, and we were saying, used to give Steph that many 3-pointers, he's definitely going to make more than half of those attempts if you true, maybe not more than half, about 45, 47%.
Right, yeah, that's true. So yeah, the three have become first it was like a weapon and now it's just part of everybody's everyday use or whatever. But the efficiency overall for the NBA has been higher this year because people aren't just taking threes and even more. So they're getting to other spots. Jaylen Brown was killing the Lakers from everywhere last night. He was getting in the mid-range. And that's what the greater players always are going to do anyway. So, yeah, so it's definitely different.
No, definitely. Speaking, we had a couple big games this week. We had Philly and Brooklyn. The other day, Philly got the big win. Of course, Kyrie didn't play.
No, Kyrie played.
My bad. Not Kyrie. KD didn't play is what I meant to say. James Harden didn't play. LaMarcus Aldridge was a late scratch because of an illness. which forced him to retire, which is making him retire. Shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge, who's had a long career, was 5-time All-Star, I think it was.
No, 7-time.
7-time All-Star,
5 All-NBA.
5 All-NBA.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into if he's a Hall of Famer or not. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Going to the Hall of Fame.
That's a discussion for another day. But Philly looked basically how you thought they would look in this game. Nobody was gonna Philly guard Joel Embiid, whether that was DeAndre Jordan or Nick Claxton or Jeff Green. Kyrie looked good. Ben Simmons was aggressive for the most part of the game. These are the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference. Early conference finals preview, you think?
Yeah, that's who I've had for the conference finals for a while. I said that they're gonna go on a collision course to make it, unless Boston, has something to say about that. Boston and potentially Miami also, but I think Philly and Brooklyn have been the best 2 teams all year, and I had them in the Eastern Conference Finals coming into the year, even before James Harden was traded to Brooklyn. But yeah, I think they're the best 2 teams overall. The most, Brooklyn has the top heavy firepower, and then Philly they have their top heavy people too, but they're a more complete team than Brooklyn. Philly still waiting to add George Hill, and I think he'll help them with some ball handling off the bench. But it was a good game to watch. Joel went crazy, of course, but you can't really gauge how the series will really be missing, James Harden and Kevin Durant, because they're definitely going to be there when it comes time for the playoffs.
Right.
So Philly's a good defending team, and we know Brooklyn's a high-powered offensive team. So that's going to be hard, but then Brooklyn's going to have to figure out what they're going to do regarding Embiid. You just lost a body with LaMarcus being forced to retire. Not that he was forced, he just, with his health, he said it was best for him. So you lose that body, so now you're just basically looking at DeAndre Jordan, Claxton. I guess they tried to throw Jeff Green on him last night. Not last night, but in the game the other day, he just got rid of Jeff Green. Definitely don't want KD guarding Embiid. So that's going to be one of those chess matches that they try to play in small. But hopefully you can get some minutes out of DeAndre Jordan, because he played solid in the game.
Right.
Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate. He worked hard for his 39, but 39 is 39.
No, definitely.
Yeah, so I think that's my pick for the Eastern Conference Finals, though. I think they're the best 2 teams. Miami and Boston are 2 teams you have to worry about. And, some people like the Bucks. I don't believe in the Bucks, so that's why I didn't mention them. But I guess you can throw them out there. You can throw them out there. I take the Hawks more serious than the Bucks, honestly. And so, yeah.
They're third seed right now. But just stick with
they in third.
With Philly, Ben Simmons came out. He started the game out aggressive, and that's kind of what you want to see with Ben Simmons. I know a lot of times early on, his defender they duck down into the paint as far as possible, but Philly runs stuff to congest the paint and get him open layups on the weak side of the basket, which is what you want. Which is what we've been saying we want to see Philly does. And Doc Rivers has been doing that all year, which just opens up the game for everybody else, because Ben Simmons is a 6'10" point guard. No matter where he at, he can always find a player to throw the ball to.
He can look over people to make any pass on the court. The main thing is him being aggressive. Him being aggressive in the Brooklyn game was key, because I feel like over the last month he hasn't really been aggressive. And being aggressive doesn't mean shooting even necessarily, but pushing the pace and having higher assists. Usually Ben Simmons is competing for triple doubles. Typically, that's how you know how aggressive he is. Even if he finishes with 17, 8, and 9, he had an aggressive type of night. But if you just look at stats over the last couple of weeks, it's a lot of 10, 5, and 5s. I always say that he should be in the 8 to 9 assists and rebound range, and then his points can go anywhere from 15 to 20 or so. So him being aggressive is going to be key, because they're going to use him in a lot of ways. And maybe you could say he's kind of getting lost into the defense too, because he's clearly made it clear that he want to win Defensive Player of the Year, so he's taking the defensive role serious. But I can't negate what he is supposed to bring offensively. Also, he did get paid the big bag to not just be an all-star player, to be an all-NBA type player. So, which I think he could be. So, but he's going to be key. But to a point about Brooklyn, he's going to be key in that series, because I don't know if he's going to guard Kyrie as much, as just, even though, for spurts of the game, because he did guard him. But I think they're mainly going to use him for James and KD in particular. And then you also going to see him on Kyrie some too. So going into knowing you're going to be guarding those three possibly all night, no matter where you're switching. That is a different mindset you probably have than thinking about offense, but he still got to be aggressive on offense.
No, he definitely does. And I think my team style will help a little bit with those defensive assignments.
Yeah, he was on Kyrie's son too, so he definitely going to go with Kyrie and James, yeah.
And he did,
And I like Thibault.
No, yeah, definitely. I think he played good. I think he played good defense looking back at the game against Kyrie. Of course, Kyrie is Kyrie, so he's going to do what he does. But my T-Style was
he had 37. Kyrie shot one shot left-handed. He pulled out the Kobe left-handed shots. Like,
there's nothing you can do about that. Honestly, just hope he misses. But shout out to my T-Style and Philly for picking up that big win and staying in first place in the East. In the Western Conference, things are looking tight as always.
Right.
Steph is, trying to push Golden State to a playoff spot. He had another 30-piece last night.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
The Lakers they're kind of holding position in that fifth seed. Anthony Davis was just cleared for full contact. When you think we see, I know Frank Vogel said we might not see him over the weekend.
Not probably, I would say Monday.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. So he said, it's a chance he could play this weekend, but he's probably not. Like I say, LeBron is still about 3 or 4 weeks away. Hopefully Anthony Davis can come in and just give them, because it's not their defense right now. They're lacking scoring, honestly, and a little bit of play, not a little bit of playmaking, but a lot of playmaking, especially when you lose players like Anthony Davis and LeBron. Chris Paul got Phoenix still pacing in second place. And I was just after rewatching that game last night, just thinking of how much better he's made that whole team, because a lot of these players last year, people didn't think was good help for Devin Booker. And that included people questioning the Cam Johnson pick at number 11. Melvin Carter, who's been a good shooter for them this year. He was a good shooter last year, but when the team is bad, you don't really notice it. A lot of people was going sour on the DeAndre Ayton pick because of how good Luka and Trae Young has been. But Chris Paul, I know a lot of people were saying, of course he's not going to be the MVP, but he's their MVP.
Right.
You think, I know you got the Clippers still in the conference finals, right?
Right.
You think they would, right now, I think their matchup will be Clippers in the second round. They both were to make it. Do you think Phoenix has a realistic shot at getting to the conference finals?
They have a shot because you got the players. You got an experienced Hall of Famer and Chris Paul, All-Star, and Devin Booker, legit All-Star, who's raised his game. Because his stats were a little down earlier in the year. I think he's around 22 a game, and he's at 26 now. Then DeAndre Ayton is a threat. I think he should be used a lot more, but he is definitely a threat there. So they got a chance, but I would take the Clippers in the second round matchup. I don't think Kawhi is going to be denied at least the conference finals this year. Paul George, they've been undefeated since adding Rondo. Also, since Rondo decided to play basketball now, because he definitely didn't play in Atlanta. But Phoenix, Chris Paul does legitimately. To have a player like that he's an old school type of point guard. So it's not surprising to me that Chris Paul teams get better, like Jason Kidd's teams got better or whatever, because he's an old school, true point guard, true extension of the coach, true holding players accountable while on the floor. That just doesn't lead to postseason success because he's still such an undersized player. So you're going to really need Devin Booker to show why people think he's in the mode of Kobe, Kawhi, those type of players also. So Devin Booker is, I think, who's going to be the key for Chris Paul is going to help you get in position, honestly. I want to give him his credit for that, even the years with Houston, even with the Clippers. Maybe the Clippers depended on a little more offensively, but at the end of the day, they wanted Blake Griffin to put them over the top.
Right.
So in Houston, James Harden was supposed to put him over the top. Chris Paul kind of put him in position, and James Harden's our best player. He put us over the top. So now you got Devin Booker. So you're trying the same thing. He's your young stud, 26 a game. You think in the playoffs, you got Chris Paul doing everything else. He's going to do what he needs to do to make you get there. But I think making it to the second round would be great for Phoenix in itself this year. They ain't made the playoffs in a while. And the Clippers is just more of a seasoned and ready team right now. But if the Clippers are sleeping, they could beat them, though. No, I'm not taking Phoenix.
No, definitely that. Denver, who just lost Jamal Murray for the year because of an ACL injury, which another player lost for the entire season because of injuries. Of course, people feel how they feel about that. But, thinking a lot of these injuries come to the start of the season, think it's a mix of a short season, and that's just how the NBA goes.
Yeah, I think people like it sucks, but if you've really ever watched this stuff, it's just happening. The shortened season does not help, obviously, because games are playing a little slightly more rapidly. But the start of the season was like a month later. I mean, you can count those October 31st starts, but usually the season started in November, so it's not that drastic as it seems, but it is a little more tight. We can all agree on that. But yeah, injuries happen, and that injury sucks for Denver because they were undefeated also since adding Aaron Gordon. I think they had just got their first loss.
They lost to Boston.
So I think Murray being out allows Michael Porter to step up more as a scorer. Yeah. But like now for all y'all people that love Monte Harris, he's your starting point guard. So Monte Morris, excuse me, I'll put him and Gary Harris. And Gary not there no more, but. For all the people that love Monte Morris, some people think he could be a starter. This is where you prove it, I would say, I guess. Right. And then
they did just sign Austin Rivers.
Right, you signed Austin Rivers to give you another guard play off the bench.
Pazzo, the vet rookie.
Yeah, I like him. He's a really good. I always like those players from overseas. Those players are always they're always smart. They always make the right play. They're always passers. They're always looking for other people on the team. So I definitely like him on the team.
Right.
But you're gonna need Monte Morris to step up.
Will Barton has to step up his game a bit more.
Yeah, Will Barton also came into the season. Oh, I don't want to come off the bench. He's real clear about that. So it's really just time for players to step up. But Denver definitely is gonna be hurt losing an all-star caliber player like Jamal Murray.
But they still have an MVP candidate in Jokic.
Yeah, for
sure. How far? Because right now their first round matchup is looking like the Lakers. Without Jamal Murray, how you think the Nuggets got a chance? They have a chance, but you think they have a real chance to beat them in a 7-game series?
No, I would take the Lakers in 6, honestly. I think Jokic would be too much to handle to be able to win 2 games. But without Jamal Murray, I don't think they could. The Lakers would be a tough first round. I think they would have a better chance beating them in the second round just because you go through a round, you win, and people's confidence is up.
Right.
But you go to that Lakers series, you get down 2-0. I don't think people gonna react or whatever. So I think Jokic can win 2 games against the Lakers, but maybe really I know for sure I'll give him 1.
Yeah,
I think he can win 2, but I don't think the Lakers will be a tough matchup out the gate for them.
Yeah, like I say, because you just missing that next playmaker and get another 20-point scorer, and you never. Of course, I think we all believe in Michael Porter, but I don't think we expect him to push his. Not this year anyway, get up to 24 points per game, which they would definitely need without that 20-point score. But say players like Will Barton, Paul Millsap still coming off the bench. Monte Morris, this your chance to show, like I say, there's a lot of people who do believe Monte Morris. I remember got a friend, Big James. He said they was gonna trade Jamal Murray so Monte Morris can be the star point guard. This was the year they lost to Portland in the second round. So
those people are out there.
No, yeah, definitely. So this is Monte Morris. You got the chance in the minutes. He's clearly a good player because he's still a rotational player.
This is Monte Morris. This is his chance to have his Reggie Jackson moment.
Yeah.
His Darren Collison moment where you back up to an all-star point, even though Jamal hasn't made an all-star game. He's also a level point guard. You're the backup, they go down, you see some minutes, and people start thinking, can you be a starter? So
you make a long career out of that.
Yeah, that's true. It can happen. Even shout out to Skip to my Lou, right, for Austin. Jameer Nelson made the All-Star team. He gets hurt. Skip holds down the team. He gets a big bag. I mean, it happens.
It does.
It really quarterbacks on some football stuff. Quarterbacks and point guards can easily slide it because all you gotta do is kind of run the team and make sure people eat and don't hurt the team. And usually you end up getting a chance of that. Like how many quarterbacks too, even in football, I'm not the football guy, but how many have you seen over the years somebody get hurt, they step in and then they get an opportunity, whether it works out or not.
Right. They get a big contract somewhere else.
It happens with point guards all the time. Darren, like you said, Darren Collins. I remember Bobby Jackson when he had his chance. Tyronn Lue.
Kings?
Yeah.
The
people started thinking he won 6 man, started thinking could he be a starter. Everybody want a floor general, so this is your chance, Monte Morris. But I'm taking the Lakers in 6.
I got
in 5, but in 6.
I got him in 6. I say because like the Jokic is gonna get him. Jokic is gonna get him 1. Maybe they get a good team win for a second one.
Playoff Jamal Murray is a top 5 point guard in the NBA.
And you taking that away from a really good team.
Playoff Jamal Murray.
Back to the Eastern Conference real quick. Our Atlanta Hawks took a bad loss. I ain't gonna say a bad loss. We did take a big loss to the Milwaukee Bucks last night. We played Trae Young. It was his first game back, so he was a little rusty. It was also Giannis' first game back. The Hawks are sitting in fourth place right now. I'm not gonna talk about us not getting any national media coverage because it is what it is. But Charles Barkley did have a joke last night on TNT. Shaq said that the Hawks were 2 players away. Of course, Charles Barkley responds with this LeBron, they miss LeBron and AD. Like, you can do that for any team. But to the Hawks' credit, they are in fourth place, and they have been dealing with a lot of injuries this year.
From the coaching change in the middle of the season, injuries to key players from the start of the year. You sign a player that they expected to play a big role, and he's not on the roster no more. So for the Hawks to be sitting in the position that they're in, and they are only a player or 2 away. You have an all-star starting point guard in Trae Young, who started as an all-star last year, didn't make the game this year. John Collins is an all-star caliber player. They have, Clint Capella is a solid defensive player, leads the league in rebounding. And then you just got the other pieces, Bogdanovich, Gallinari, who has been in and out of the lineup. Bogdanovich has had his own injuries himself. DeAndre Hunter, a young emerging player.
Who's out again.
They are a player or 2 away. I really think they're DeAndre Hunter becoming the all-star player that he is, and then a player away.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't think they necessarily need to sign 2 players.
So a fourth player, because you still got John Collins who's out right now.
You still have John Collins, but I don't think the player is necessarily like an all-star.
That's what I'm saying. So a fourth player after that.
Yeah, possibly, because I think with Trae, DeAndre Hunter, and John Collins, you have a nucleus just in that right there. Okay. And then the role that Clint Capella plays is going to be key, because you still got the MBs out there, the Jokic's, right, the Anthony Davises.
Right. Yeah,
so having him, they are one other. And I thought it was maybe someone on the roster, but it could truly just be a matter of this team kind of growing together, and it being, because I've watched some games this year where Gallinari has played a key role, just his versatility as a scorer and then his size. That helps push the team. Trae is comfortable being a closer, and honestly, DeAndre Hunter was becoming that before he got hurt. And right. DeAndre Hunter, who was a top 5 pick, so it's not like we're talking about this potential of a player that was a second-round pick. Right. If you go to top 5,
that's what we expect you.
Yeah, your trajectory is we think you're gonna be an all-star, potential cornerstone player. So imagine DeAndre Hunter, who takes the jump this year from 12 points per game last year to 17, really 19 before he got hurt. So you take that next jump where you averaging 24, 25, and then you're versatile defensively. Trae Young has averaged 29 in his league last year. He's 25 this year, 25, 8, 9 assists.
Players are better this year.
Exactly. So the talent is there.
We still got Cam Reddish, who we're still waiting to see.
Right. He's also part of the potential of the players that you need. But, I always think he's also a potential piece you could flip with him and Herter to bring something in. So the Hawks really have it, because Trae Young's in his 4th year, DeAndre Hunter's in his 2nd year, John Collins is 5 years in. Yep. So they're still a pretty young team. And the first time they made the playoffs in a season full of turbulence, they're fighting for a home court advantage. I mean, you start off winning, have one of the most efficient offenses early in the season. You get a big win against Brooklyn, and then players start getting hurt, and then you go on a run. I mean, you go on a kind of a negative run of losing. You get rid of your coach, and then you bounce back and start back winning and move up. Hey, the Hawks are there. Only thing the Hawks need is national TV.
It's a back guy. Shout out to you. No, we're not giving the Knicks that spot, man.
No.
We're not good. Don't even start. We're not giving the Knicks that spot. Not at all. But what do you think our chances are in the playoffs, honestly? Like right now, like we got the 4 or 5 matchup.
This year, just being straight honest, I don't like the Hawks against Boston just because Boston's already established, and Boston came to the season with championship aspirations while we came to the season hoping to make the playoffs. We thought 6th seed at best. So I think the Hawks could push Boston to 6 games, possibly 7 games. And, but I honestly would pick Boston in that playoff series.
Right.
But they wouldn't sweep the Hawks. They wouldn't win in 5.
No, it wouldn't be.
It's going to be 6 to 7 games.
Easy. I would like the Hawks Knicks matchup. We could do a whole off the ball
Hey,
network.
if we get number 3 or the Knicks go ahead and get that 5 because the Knicks are right behind Boston. I would love to play the Knicks, so I would guarantee the Hawks advance to the second round of the playoffs because we getting rid of the Knicks. They don't want to see the Hawks. What do you say?
Isn't that still United, by the way?
None. Kendrick none.
I think so. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Oh, injured. I think he is injured.
I think so.
Yeah, I haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't heard his name in a while. But a Knicks Hawks matchup would be a fun first round matchup. I think it's two young developing teams that have all-star players. They have young all-star caliber players in RJ Barrett and DeAndre Hunter for both sides. Mitchell Robinson, what's the status on Mitch? Is he still out? I'm not sure. I know he had re-injured himself. But the Hawks and Knicks matchup could be a fun matchup because, like I said, it's two young teams, two veteran coaches with Tom Thibodeau and Nate McMillan, kind of the same styles: defensive first, ball movement, open shot opportunity coaches.
We got the Knicks coming up in 2 and 3 games, so we'll see. But I'd rather see the Hawks play Boston. It'll be more competitive for us. The Knicks have exceeded all expectations this year, so they have a chance though. Being right there with Boston, because Milwaukee, I was gonna say the Knicks it would have to be Milwaukee, but Milwaukee's kind of that 3 seed is done.
Yeah,
nobody's competing for that, so it's really 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean 4 through 7 is really tight. Really 4 through 9 is kind of tight. So. But I see Hawks playing Boston first round. The Knicks, they might potentially hold on to that spot. If I was the Knicks, I would want to play Milwaukee over wanting to play Brooklyn. But I kind of want that New York first round series. I've been saying that for a month or so now.
For the Hawks?
No, for if the Knicks finish 7th.
Oh, Knicks and Brooklyn.
Yeah, they finish 7th. They would play Brooklyn. So I want to see the Brooklyn Nets play the New York Knicks in the first round. That would be magical. It would be great. KD and Kyrie first year playing together.
New York basketball is back. If you get that.
Right. They tried to say that they were still in the city, so now you can really fight for the city.
Right.
And we could get the Knicks because we also potentially going to have Lakers Clippers. So get Knicks Nets in the same year as Lakers Clippers. Let's do it.
Nah, definitely I'm with it. And I think every basketball fan and appreciator will be with that as well.
Yeah, Lakers Clippers would have to be conference finals though. So yeah.
I mean that's what it's supposed to be last year too.
Yeah, that was supposed to be, so that works.
But once again, shout out to the Knicks and the big season they are having, because for them, like I said, they're in 6th place right now, and I think most people outside of the real true Knicks fans didn't see them as high as an 8th seed, honestly.
Right.
But the Knicks are a good young team that's growing. Tom Thibodeau got them in the right place. And with veterans like Derrick Rose on the team, you can only hope to succeed.
Exactly.
But this is not a Knicks show, though. This is the Hoopers.
Exactly. That awesome.
But not a shout to the Knicks, but shout out to the Hawks, because Charles Barkley also said at the beginning of the season he thought that they would be better than what they are, but I don't think anybody saw them being better than a 4th seed, honestly. So
no, we all had them making the playoffs, but not this high. So.
And Charles Barkley, I know you an Alabama guy, so you probably in Alabama a lot, but I know you live here as well, because I know people that know you.
Right.
I ain't gonna say how they know you, but I know they know you. I know you watching. So put some respect on the city that you live in with the Atlanta Hawks. Right. You too, Shaq. Even though you do try to respect, you show them a little respect, but you can't own the Krispy Kreme down here and not be respectful.
The original.
Shout out to Krispy Kreme. That line always jumping no matter what city you in.
Exactly, especially when the hot sign was on. Man, we was in Florida, the hot sign was on. We was gonna stop, but
you saw that Krispy Kreme too?
Yeah, we was about to stop, but the line was so long with the hot sign. We was like, oh no, that's all right. Can't wait in line on vacation.
Right, but back to basketball talk. While we got we still here. I forgot who it was, but somebody still had LaMelo as their Rookie of the Year front runner. You still agreeing with that?
No, he wasn't so far ahead that he should have gotten that he. Because I would say this: he was dominating the Rookie of the Year, but it was still so much time left in the search. And Anthony's getting 25 every other night. I mean, so
right.
And
I can't 25.
Right, so I can't deny that performance. But I respect someone saying that they having, but I just feel like if Joel Embiid couldn't win with the year that he was having because of games he missed, it's gonna be hard to top that.
Definitely. Jokic is number one on ESPN's MVP ballot right now. I'm pretty sure you still got Joel Embiid right there. But do you have Joel Embiid's number one on the MVP list?
MVP right now, I had Jokic in front, honestly, because of the injuries.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to see how the season ends. Philly finishing in first place helps.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers that Joel is putting up are crazy. So he's still right there for me.
He has the I think he was top 5 for Philly for least games played to 1,000 points in the season.
So not surprising.
And of course, it was Iverson's first at 30 games.
Right.
I think it was between like 30. I think he had 35 games because Wilt was last on the list, but he was up there twice as well with Iverson.
Right. So I definitely have him up there. I just think it's a matter of seeing how because you gotta acknowledge the games Jokic have played this year. He's really been there through everything. So if Denver continues to rise, there's a chance. But with the numbers that Embiid's putting up, he continues to average 30. They're in first place. I think he might get his first MVP.
Definitely. And the two was probably going to be the hottest debates around award time. Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved Player. I'm pretty sure you got Ben Simmons for Defensive Player of the Year.
Right now, yeah, I have Ben Simmons at the top for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's been on a run this year to try to get it, being versatile defensively, and then, the numbers help support it also. But just watching it also, I got Ben at the top.
And appreciate you for hopping in, Edgar, man. And thanks for the compliment. Says we great. Shout out to you. Right. Being great international professional podcasters. But like I say, Defensive Player of the Year, Ben Simmons. Most Improved Player, of course, I know everybody early on for most of the season had Jeremy Grant. I've seen a surge, of course, of Julius Randle getting up in there. Who do you think is going to take home Most Improved Player of the Year? Oh, well, who do you have?
I don't really have anyone yet. I've liked Julius Randle all year. Jeremy Grant numbers always was impressive, but Detroit just was always too terrible for me to give him any type of awards, honestly, this year. And so I've had Julius Randle making his first All-Star game in his 7th season. The Knicks competing for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That's the definition of Most Improved Player.
Right. Because he's doing it as the best player on the team.
Yeah.
You think he's going to be All-NBA this year? I got him on my All-NBA ballot.
No, he's not All-NBA. I can't get him All-NBA.
He's like not even third team?
Third team is going to be his best bet, but when you think about
I know he's not going to be first two teams. Yeah.
But the front court players, it's going to be tough for him to get in there. But possibly third team. Blake made it a few years ago when I didn't think he can make it with similar numbers to what Julius is doing. And then the factor of the Knicks competing, I think is the chance. And then especially with a player like Anthony Davis missing so much time, he's going to be out. But when you just think about the front court players, like it's going to be Jokic, Embiid, LeBron, Kawhi. I think Paul George is competing for a spot.
That's what I was going to say. Is he going to compete?
I would say Zion get it over him. Zion might get a spot over him. With Zion's numbers, they ain't going to make the playoffs. They're going to have to give him something.
Yeah.
They put him in the All-Star game, and they started him.
Yeah.
So Zion's definitely going to make All-NBA this year. I already said players like Jokic. So it's going to be up there. He's definitely in the running. It's not like, oh, hell no, he ain't going to make it. Like, if he made it, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't currently have him. But maybe I need to review who's going to make those teams.
And that's why they should bring positions. Well, I think, or do the All-NBA do positions?
I think they do the 3 fronts and 2 backs. I mean, if any year it should be positionless this year, because 2 centers should be All-NBA, because 2 centers, because 2 centers are going to be your top 2 MVP candidates.
No, yeah, that's fair. So, that's definitely fair. And before we get out of here, the award that's probably the least talked about, Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year this year for me has been Monty Williams. But within the running of Monty, I've had Doc up there. Thibodeau deserves some credit.
Quinn Snyder, Utah?
And yeah, Quinn Snyder. I'm like, I'm forgetting somebody. But I think I got Monty.
That's right.
Because Utah's been in the playoffs or whatever. Yeah. And Phoenix is also a team that I thought they was going to make the playoffs, but they're in 2nd place right now. So legit chance to make it to the finals, whether I'm picking them to go or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they did go. I don't think they are. But so I got Monty. So shout out to Monty. Getting back to this spot, he was assistant for Philly a couple years ago after he kind of basically stepped down from New Orleans after his wife passed. and he went through a tough couple years or whatever, and then he had the game to bring him back and to have the success that he's having in Phoenix. Kind of justifies, it's always good to see a coach, because I always thought Monte was a solid coach. One of the 2 playoff appearances that they made was what he was there, and he built a relationship with Anthony Davis or whatever, and that team was weaker than the other team that made it, in my opinion.
Right.
And he got them in the playoffs or whatever. So it's good to see Monte build this team up like this, get some respectable pieces that he could coach and show what he could, what he could do. So shout out to Monte. I always like former players as coaches, and then Monte just seems like he connects with his players pretty well. He's a coach that a lot of players like. He seems like a solid dude. So I got Monte Williams coach of the year.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's gonna come down to either him or Quinn Snyder.
Quinn, you can't deny Quinn, because Utah's ran away with the season.
Yeah.
And I don't think Quinn has gotten that recognition yet. So I definitely could see Quinn winning the award. It's gonna be so tough though. I think any other year he wins the award easy. But the fact that Phoenix didn't make the playoffs and they're gonna finish top 2, I think, opposed to like the Hawks, for instance, finishing 4th, which is good for a team that didn't make the playoffs. But to be top 2 in the league is like, it's different. So
Definitely, I agree with that. But other than that, you got anything else for the people?
That's it for today. Just as always, shout out to the viewers and everyone that's watching the Hoopers Morning Run every Friday on the Off the Ball Network's Facebook page and on the Hoopers YouTube page. We also on the Hoopers Twitter page. Shout out to all the listeners for the Nothing But Net radio station. Been doing a lot of great numbers on there. Nothing But Net radio. We on every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. And of course, we're the International Professional Podcasters. So anywhere podcasts are available, you can find us Spotify, Apple, Google. We also on Pandora now. We're on iHeartRadio. The Hoopers are everywhere. So if you want to listen, just tune in.
Right, just search the Hoopers Pod on all those things. And with that being said,
subscribe to the YouTube page, the Hoopers Pod on YouTube. Just pull it up, subscribe. More and more content is going to be added. Oh, and like I said, we on Twitter too. So
at Hoopers Pod, hit that follow button, retweet, comment, like some stuff. Just have a conversation with us. We talk back, regardless of who's on the page. We talk back. You'll tell the difference of who's on the page by who's talking. But
all right.
I'm John W.
It's Fresh X.
And this was the Hoopers Morning Run.
Later, players.